Thank you for tuning in to Gloves Off Seattle. Your hosts, Patti and Meagan, will be talking about all things Seattle women's hockey. A huge Pacific Northwest welcome to the PWHL. Gloves Off Seattle! Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Gloves Off Seattle.
Gloves Off Seattle.
We are so excited today to have a very special guest. We would like to introduce everyone in our audience to Meredith Roth. Meredith, thank you so much for joining us, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I love the title of the pod, by the way, because I have a little enforcer in me, I guess. Gloves off. But
Yes.
so
You can thank Chat GPT. That's really who came up with the name. There's the lore behind the podcast. It was Chat GPT. So it wasn't, I mean, we loved it when it came up, but like it was Chat GPT.
right, the origin story is in AI, but
That's
I'm
right.
super grateful to be on. Very lucky to be in this sport, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we have talked about, and I know you don't know our story, so we'll give a brief synopsis. We've talked about this on the podcast a little bit about how we got into hockey, and we want to hear how you got into hockey. But just so you know, Patty, go ahead. You can just brief.
Okay, because it can be lengthy, but I lived in Southern California my whole life, got into hockey in 1993, and have been a Ducks fan for many, many years, season ticket holder since 2007. Gave up my season tickets to come up here and marry this beautiful woman, and was gifted with a PWHL team, which is amazing to have another team to get all behind, and a professional women's team to boot. Just really excited about that new journey. And then Megan was never really into
No,
sports at all.
I was never into, I was sports balls. That's what it was for me. It was always
Okay.
sports balls. And then when we met, I knew she was a hockey fan. And I was like, okay, well, I should probably get into this a little bit and understand a little bit. And as I tell everybody, it's like when you go to when you go to live hockey games, number one, it's an infectious thing to be in the arena and see it live. But to have someone sitting next to you that's willing to like explain what's going on the ice, like helped me like really understand the sport and get so that our whole the whole thing about the podcast is like I am the newbie, like I ask quote unquote stupid questions because there's just stuff I don't understand yet because I'm still learning. So it's been about a year and a half that I've been into hockey at this point, really getting into it. So yeah, we were just talking about because we were watching the Ducks on TV last night, and I was like, yeah, second season, like I'm starting to recognize like who the players are and like what's going on. So
Well,
anyway, we would love to hear about how you got into hockey and your hockey journey.
yeah, no, I love that there's a strong passion for the sport, and it's something that I was very fortunate to get into because of my family. Um, I have four brothers and a sister, so just kind of similar, Megan, like sports balls, like that's what you do. This was just a constant buzz of activity, competition, alliances, all the things. So you're constantly building a team and trying to like, okay, who can I like, get in with today that, play whatever sport we were doing.
Mm.
But my mom actually taught us all how to skate. So she grew up playing, on organized sports, and, was one of those women who came through and just played for fun, and, skated after school in the winter. That's what you did. And with your friends, and you got the French fries at the end of the skate that warmed your hands up. Um, so yeah, got into the sport that way, had older siblings who played, and then, just kind of trickled down the family lineup. And,
And where did you grow up, Meredith?
yeah, Dubuque, Iowa.
Iowa. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so home of the Fighting Saints, which is a USHL team, and they were um, in 1980 they came to town. That was like the first iteration of the franchise. So it's kind of a sneaky hockey culture there that you think Iowa, you're like, oh, Caitlin Clark, like basketball now.
Yeah.
Uh, but before it's like wrestling, volleyball, corn, pork, and you don't
I grew up in
especially.
Missouri. I know. I understand completely.
Yeah.
Yep. On board.
Yeah, so it's a sneaky hockey culture. I grew up playing with the boys, and so lucky I had great teammates and great coaches that, it's kind of carried me through, me being able to coach and give back and provide an experience for people. So
And we didn't even say that. Like
No,
Meredith is the head coach at Harvard. Like that's
right.
amazing.
Yes, of the women's team.
I am the associate head coach.
associate head
Okay.
coach of the
Yeah.
women's team at Harvard. Yes,
Yeah.
we did a little deep diving. But this is not the first place you've coached. You've got quite an illustrious coaching career for
Yeah.
someone as young as you, because I think we're about the same age, so I'm going to call you young.
Let's go with young for sure.
Yay!
Yeah, I've been fortunate to, like I said, be in the game and, have the opportunity to coach, and got my start at my high school alma mater, Shattuck St. Mary's, and then was able to go back to my uh, collegiate roots in Providence College. That's where I played and got my college coaching start there. And I've been in the college game ever since. So, yeah, very lucky to have some different opportunities to be with different programs, learn for different coaches, and
Have
more
you
important.
always coached women? I guess that's another question. I don't know that I've seen your coaching progression, but I didn't know if it was always women's teams.
It has been girls and women's. Yep,
Yep.
the whole way
Okay.
through. Yeah.
And I know Shattuck St. Mary's is in Minnesota, right? Did your family move or did you go away for that
Yeah.
or
So that's like it's like 4.5 hours from home. So I billeted, stayed at the dorms, which was really, really good for me, like long term, being on the other side of it when you're 16 and leave home, you're like, okay, what am I doing? But you really learn a lot about yourself. You form bonds with people in the same situation as you, like young, learning about yourself, being there in a community, with some great guidance from teachers and coaches and stuff too. So yeah, I was able to be there for 2 seasons, 2 academic years.
it's amazing. And how did you go like tell us what the transition was from player because you played defense and then you high school then collegiate. How did you switch over to coaching? Like what made that switch in your head?
Yeah. So when I was playing, especially in college, I would go back to Shattuck and work summer camp. And then our head coach at Providence, Bob Duraney, he had a summer camp in um, at PC at Providence. So we would work, and I just found it so fascinating to be on the other side and, you know, try to think from the player perspective and then communicate something to help someone learn and grow. So,
Mm.
and I always lucked out with great coaches too. So I kind of had it in my mind early, kind of in early college days, like, hey, maybe I could do this. And I've had great coaches from youth all the way through college. I could see myself doing that. I'm a people person. I love the sport. I love the process of learning and growing. So, and then the competitiveness too. So, yeah,
That
that's
seems
how
to be a theme amongst people we talk to that are in the sport. There's a competitive nature to them.
you gotta have it. It's hard,
Yeah.
hard to
But
be in
all,
without it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. But also we like, especially here because we want women coaches. We want women in that position and be able, and girls to be able to see that as well. Were there female coaches that you had growing up that you saw that you saw traits in that you wanted?
Yeah, so I grew up in an era where, and a location where it was like a lot of just boys and men, like male coaches. So my first experience having a female like playing experience or having a coach was, I think I was in like ninth grade. There was a team over in Madison, Wisconsin. That's now the Madison Capitals, but it was like pre that organization picking up a girls program.
Mm.
And we had an amazing coach. He was involved, and then we had a family, a husband-wife duo that really kind of took us all in. Like I would stay over at their place,
Oh.
eat all their cereal, and they had daughters who played, and that's how this was born. They
Mm.
Mm,
wanted their daughters to have experience playing with other girls. So, actually, I had teammates from Missouri, and stretching kind of all over the Midwest. Because if you weren't in Minnesota or Chicago, you really didn't have a lot of exposure to girls hockey at that point.
yeah. All right, it's sticking in my head because we had Cam Fowler was kind of taken in by Scott Niedermayer's family when he moved to the Ducks and became went
I don't know
with the
what
Ducks.
she's talking
He
about, but
really doesn't.
okay.
But there was a whole thing where he was like, "Yeah, I was eating cinnamon toast crunch, with his kids and all that." So what was the cereal that you were eating at that house? Just want
There's
to know.
some, like, pirate's booty, but not the snack that is today. It was
Yeah.
Okay.
the grocery store version of Lucky Charms, like,
Nice.
we would just crush that, and anything, like, anything. The Ferwerda family, have to give them a shout out, like, they just took care of all of us.
Mm,
Love it.
Um, and yeah, so pirate's booty, but, like, think Lucky Charms.
got it.
Mhm. And I
Yeah.
love the generic
Yeah, the store
store
brand.
brand. Yes, I'm all about that. Like everyone knows my favorite price is free. So
Absolutely. Yeah, like, if it works, it works.
That's right. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so talking about being, because I think, like the theme of like you came from an area that maybe wasn't known for like hockey development. Seattle's kind of, we've unfortunately been in that realm until recently when when the Kraken, the bad K word, that's what we call them, the Kraken came on, into the city. And now we've seen this like boom. And so I just kind of want to get your take on like, especially in the women's, in girls and women's hockey, like what is the trajectory been for through your career of like where we've come from and where we're going with women's hockey?
It's light years. It's incredible. Like, and having been lucky enough to be involved, like, over a long stretch of time from being a youth player to now, coaching, um, just to see the sport grow, one in numbers, like, especially in the States, the numbers have grown substantially since I'll say it like the late 90s, early 2000s, and the number of registrations has just been phenomenal, and USA Hockey's done a wonderful job, the NHL, and putting teams in these markets and then making it an emphasis to get youth players involved. Um, and just to see one, the numbers grow, but then the skill level is insane. Like,
Yeah.
the game itself has grown so much, just generally, and then on the girls and women's side, you've seen a huge jump in skill level, strength, the pace of play, and it's been really fun to be a part of, and then also a challenge to, like, as a coach, you want to always stay on the front end of things. So, like, how can you better yourself to help your players develop and grow? Because their goal is to play in the PWHL now. Like,
Yeah.
that's, and working at Harvard, you're surrounded by these phenomenal young women who have these dreams, and they could go into whatever field that they aspire to and work for. But a lot of them are like, I want to play, like, I want to play at the
Yeah.
next level. It's not just the Olympics anymore every 4 years, it's every season.
Yes.
High quality option here in North America that, you know, they can aspire to play in.
yeah, and we talk about that all the time. Just being able to see that possibility and see that represent, like, see you in that role to where you're like, I that could be me. That
Yeah.
could be me doing that.
Yeah.
Making that way, making that money. Doing it every day. This thing that is just at the bottom, you know, deep inside of my heart, which I think a lot of hockey just play from the heart so much.
Yeah.
And I think
Wow.
the resounding thing we've heard from a lot of the players is that they could not imagine when they were little playing professional hockey for a living, like being able to make a living playing professional hockey. So tell me, I mean, because you've been at Harvard for what, 2 years now? Is that correct?
Season 3 starts tonight.
Woohoo! So
Nice.
you
Good
came to
luck.
Harvard when the PW was getting started,
Yeah.
and tell me, like, what was that like? Like, how was that being obviously in the collegiate level? Because I'm sure that the players were super excited and jazzed about the fact that there was a new league forming.
Yeah, I think, in just having something to look forward to beyond, well, your 4-year experience of being your eligibility, and, having something that is viable to potentially play in, because you start at a young age. Like, I learned to skate at age 3. Like, you ask these players and it ranges, but, in that 3 to, let's just say 7 age range, you start and then you just fall in love with this game. And then it's like, okay, that just stops, at a certain point. And, with your playing career, and now, you have the option to potentially keep playing after college. And
Mm.
there's other leagues too, and Europe's always an option as well. And there's been iterations of this, but just nothing of this level, this nature, and this exciting that it, is seemingly like a really great long-term, here for the long haul,
Yeah.
Right.
league that can be built upon. And you're already seeing the growth. I mean, you guys are
Yeah.
in a market where it's instantaneous almost seemingly from when it started. Like it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
really cool to see the growth that quickly, and have options for more players to play.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to grow even more. Like there's word of mouth that there's going to be
More expansion.
more
Yeah.
expansion. So
They're already talking about more expansion, which I mean, on one side of the coin is great. Like it's amazing as like to think about the league and it growing. And I always say like more teams means more games, right? Like we can play more games if
Right.
there's more teams. So it means a longer, fuller season, which is great. But also
Yeah.
just just that we had, almost 200 players in the draft this year. And it's like I mean, obviously we didn't draft, 200 players did not get drafted into the PWHL, but like what an amazing thing to have such an embarrassment of riches almost, because as we always say that these are not just good players. Like, and I'm not going to disparage the NHL, but it's like there are players in the NHL that are good players. These are all elite players. These are the best of the best players because there's such limited spots in the league. And so I'm excited because it's like it's nobody's mediocre here. Like these are all amazing players and it's so exciting to watch them play. So
The games are fun. I mean, you watch, you turn it on, and I'll never forget, like I was over in Switzerland with Team USA when the league started. So the time change was interesting, but I caught good luck in like just getting there and not, having jet lag and
yeah.
waking up in the middle of the night. And it just so happened that it was like perfect timing to tune in on YouTube and like watch these first games. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it
Yeah.
because it's just such a seminal moment. Um, and you watch like over the last few seasons, the games are chess matches. I mean, it's chess matches with severe body contact. Like, um,
yeah.
but there's inches out there, and any inch you can get is, maximizing your opportunities, and it's just so fun to watch. It's so fun to watch and just be a fan, and then put on your coaching hat and be like, okay, what's the strategy here, or whatever. But it's just great hockey, like you said. The players are elite. The preparation that they do, that they put themselves through to be prepared to play is, just second to none, and it's just such an honor to watch them go out and do their thing. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Mhm.
Honestly, we have not been to a PWHL game in person yet.
No,
Our
that's not
first
true.
one.
Takeover tour.
Oh, that's true. We did go the takeover tour. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I
yeah.
misspoke.
One,
But
yeah.
One,
okay,
one.
one. I
Hey,
didn't think it was possible, like because I was down in Southern California, and when I knew the league was forming, the teams were East Coast. Like the closest
yeah.
one to me was Minnesota, and I actually took a driving tour of the perimeter of the United States for another reason. But I was driving the perimeter, and I'm like, I'll be able to get a game in here. Like I'll be able to see. Like I'm in New York, I'm in Philadelphia, I'm in Minnesota, I'm in like these places. I'm like, but it was like during the international play and everyone was on it was on height. Like
Yeah.
I never got to
Like,
see one. Like
yeah,
I'm so bad.
Yeah.
So that we get a chance to cheer every game and to get behind a team is just it feels like such a gift after leaving, my team
yeah.
behind. So
You've
I
got a
feel
great team out there. I mean, look at your roster. It's an embarrassment of riches.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yep. Nope. I know that's how we feel too. And again, talking about like further expansion, we're like, oh gosh, we don't even want to think about like potentially losing people off the team. We're just getting started. But
now we know how the original
yeah, the
six
original
felt
six
after
must
when
have
they
felt.
were like, oh, who are we gonna lose? And yeah, like we don't want to lose anyone ever.
Yeah.
So
But it's yeah, we're very, very excited. But I do want to touch because I know that you did a program with the NHL. And so I want to hear about because obviously, we are very lucky to not only have a women's team, but we also have the NHL team that has the only female bench coach, which is just, I mean, we were at the Kraken game, the home opener because
we
they
went to a Ducks
they
game
played the Ducks
when they
for
played.
the home
Yeah,
opener. So we went, and Jess Campbell got the loudest cheer of
here
all
the
the
whole day.
coaches. It was amazing. I mean, and we were cheering, I mean, even though we weren't cheering for the Kraken, we cheered for her because we're like, yay,
Yay,
go women.
women!
But all
Absolutely.
that to say, like, I want to hear about the program that you did because it was with the Bruins. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I want to hear about that and how you got involved in that and what that was like. So,
Yeah, very fortunate. It actually went through an application process, so that was kind of fun. Just to go back to your roots and all right, I'm applying for something. Like, but yeah, it was through their scouting department, but really you got a kind of 360 view of what an NHL front office does, what the scouting department does, and then how they operate to prepare themselves to compete for a Stanley Cup. So we were paired up. You each got a mentor. So my mentor was Jamie Langenbrunner, USA Hockey Hall of Famer. His son Mason
Oh,
actually goes
that
to
means something to her. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah, unbelievable player, and then an even better human being. So I really lucked out. So, um, he was my mentor, and you would have these monthly calls where it included homework, and you would work through a set of whether it was scouting, video work, and then providing feedback, and then getting feedback, and working through it together with your mentor. Um, it was really like a great opportunity because I just got to learn so much from just how detailed things are at that level, the resources that these NHL programs have, how you build an organization, not only through your players, but also like who's in your room, how are you aligning in values, and then working together on something to put together a team that can compete. So, yeah, very, very cool opportunity. And I lucked out with geographical proximity. There are a few touch points that I got in person with my mentor, and a lot of it was done through Zoom because the other, like everyone was kind of spread out throughout North America. So it was really neat to meet the other people in the program too and learn from them, and just, continue to grow your knowledge base and thinking bigger picture. And then how does that, impact what you do on a daily basis? Like it was so fun. It's kind of neat. It's like going back to school, but in something that I was like very invested in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very cool.
That's awesome.
Mm.
Did
Can't
you
even
have something?
imagine. I did, but it's not about that.
Okay.
I'm just
We
thinking.
can pivot.
Switch gears, switch gears. It's fine.
Okay, I'm just thinking like to tie this back in our group. Not that I mean that was amazing and to meet that in person and just that you could apply it to what
Yeah.
to your passion right now and
Mhm.
to, to building a team and being in that place. But I was thinking like the thing we didn't deep dive or look at all, how many Harvard women have been drafted into the PWHL?
PWHL.
Yeah, shoot, I should have prepared more
Oh,
for
no, no, we didn't either. Bad on us.
yeah. There's been we had like Emma Buckles who now is on Jocks and Jills and is
Yep,
just like
she's
a
great.
We
phenomenal
love Buckles.
character in the game, and you
Yes.
need, right? Like to tell stories and have comedy and
Yeah.
um, and there's been a handful of others that have been drafted, played, especially in that inaugural season.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
and then currently, like, I mean, Dom Petrie, she's a SoCal girl.
Yeah.
Uh, winning the Walter Cup along with her teammates in
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
So there's a touch of the Crimson in the league.
Sure.
And our goal as a program is to develop as many players as we can, you know, to have more in the league. And um, a recent alum, Mia Biotti, she's going to the Fleet training camp coming up here.
Awesome.
So that she's a training camp invitee. And
Sweet.
yeah, just looking forward to, seeing more Crim in the league, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
I'm going to totally switch gears unless you have more on players.
I did, but I lost it already. Go ahead.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I want to talk about coaching. So like this is something, and not to be controversial. Like I don't want to be controversial, but I think that like we saw that last year with six teams, we had three female head coaches and three male head coaches. And then a shakeup happened, things changed, and with the expansion teams, we're now at a deficit female, so it's now two female coaches to six male coaches. So, and I know one of the coaches left to go back to the collegiate level. So I just kind of want to hear. I mean, obviously, like also talking about the NHL and like there are no female head coaches in the NHL, but only having one bench coach in the entirety of the 34 to
33.
33 teams. Thank you.
That's very true.
I got close. That we only have one female bench coach. Like, how do we, what are your thoughts on how do we get more representation in both leagues? Not just, I mean, obviously, PW, we should have more female coaches. Like, I'm sorry, but we should have more female coaches, but in the NHL too, you know?
Yeah, and I think it comes back to like the networking element and then the confidence to like meet people. So if you look at like the NHLCA is run by Lindsay Pennell, and she's been doing a phenomenal job in bridging some of these gaps where you have underrepresented like pockets of society essentially,
Yeah.
so whether it's BIPOC female um groups that you get exposure to, one, learning from each other, and then two, networking and getting in front of people who are making decisions. So I think that's important from a networking standpoint, is to be able to, one, have the courage to reach out to someone, two, apply. You see this not only in, sport, but the corporate world too,
Oh,
like just generally. Yeah,
I'm in corporate America. I understand.
or like
Yeah.
females just second guess themselves
Yep.
to apply for that promotion or apply for a job or a leadership role. And that's one thing that's cool about being in this seat, is like, encouraging these young women in this 18 to 22 or 23-year-old age range to like have the self advocacy, have the confidence and the courage to like put yourself out there. So, yes, I would love to see more representation. And I think it will come in time, but I think we're just in the infancy of like having the ability to network, because people will hire who they know, who they trust. So you've just got to get in these circles at the table. And Lindsay is doing a phenomenal job of like making, one, the table bigger, and then getting seats there for people to have a pathway um, into these jobs or roles. So I'm with you. I'd love to see it, and I
Yeah.
think it's a matter of time. Um, but yeah, I think having the confidence and courage is part of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the representation, just seeing that people are doing it, and that it's possible for women and BIPOC people to be there and do that. It's amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's exciting. Obviously Jess Campbell is a huge inspiration to many.
Yeah.
Uh, and she's just a phenomenal human being who's very passionate and works incredibly hard at her craft. So always rooting for her, no matter where she is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We feel
Yeah,
the exact same way. Even if her team is playing against our team, we're still going to root for her.
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
That's a theme, though, that I've heard you say now 3 or 4 times, Meredith, that, just amazing human beings. And I think that's what it's all about, is to have those amazing human beings and be able to emulate that and know that it takes more than just a little knowledge of a sport, but to be that high level of a human, and to have respect for people and kindness and other things too besides competitiveness.
for sure. And like you just growing up in a large family, you can't get anywhere by yourself. Like you learn that from a young age. Like it's hard to do things alone. So if you do them together, and that requires like putting yourself out there, but then also like taking things in too. And I think when you have that open heart, open mind kind of, you know, sense of orientation, I think it can serve you well, like no matter where you are, no matter how old you are, uh,
Yeah.
environment you're in, just to take into consideration, like, okay, what can I do to add value? How can I do it in a way that's going to like, you know, be helpful to others, and then you'll receive anything back like in tenfold in that way. Not that that's what it's about, but you just what you put out is what you get back. So
Exactly.
obviously you're always cheering for people who are doing things the right way and treating people well, and having some fun while you're doing it too. Like
Yes.
it's too hard to be miserable all the time. So uh
Yes.
you got to have some joy and have fun with it and sprinkle that to other people too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
We
How? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's a theme in our life is like making sure that we have fun. Like we're adults, like you know what I mean, and like we have
Yeah.
to do adulty things, like for sure. But you know, we're hockey fans, and we have a hockey podcast, and like this is not a job. This is just fun. Like you know what I mean, and that's what I love about it. So
Can
yeah.
tell you, I love all the colors behind
Oh
you,
yeah.
like that going on, and the make is that a makeshift Stanley Cup? Like that thing's awesome.
Go ahead, tell the Stanley Cup story. Tell it.
The
Yeah,
Ducks were
what?
on the Ducks were on a Stanley Cup run with Scott Niedermayer and Chris Pronger in 2007, and I was a season. That was my first season as a season ticket holder, but I've been a fan for 10 years, so I was not a bandwagon fan. I'd put in long, hard years before this, and I made that from things that I'd gotten from stores and electrical tape, and it went to every game in the final. So, and then the next year we went to London with the team that pretty much the whole team that had won the cup, and it went. I took some tape, so I have signed. All the players signed it that I could put around the cup, and we actually drank from the cup the night we won it. So it's pretty special, and we're hoping to make a Walter Cup
I
too.
know we actually, our friend Brian's, everybody knows
He's
Brian
our
on the show.
Buckles.
He's our Buckles. So we always tell him he's our Buckles on the show.
Yeah,
But like he said that there's a blank spot right there and we need a Walter Cup to fill it. And
look good.
yeah, so we've decided that, that the magic is it gets made as we go into
The finals.
the finals, not the
Finals.
final. It gets
Has to be the
made as
finals.
we go into the finals and then we'll drink from it when we win the Walter Cup.
I like that. I like that story and idea, and that spacing looks good back there.
Yeah, yeah. We can move
We can
stuff.
move those
We can
flowers.
move stuff around, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And we on camera, we haven't even mentioned the tie-in between Meredith
Oh
and
yeah.
us is Bahar.
Yeah, so Bahar, the artist of the goalie's name is DJ. So we
Yes.
have decided
yeah.
someone that was a shout out to our Instagram account. We decided on DJ is the name of the goalie, and she is a creation of Bahar, and Bahar is friends with Meredith. Meredith went to school with Bahar's husband, so that is the that is
The
the
seven
marriage of
degrees
all
of
this.
us.
The 7 degrees of us. Yes, exactly. Meredith, I want to hear, are you cheering for a PWHL team? And if you are, who is it? And how hard do we have to cheer against you this season?
Yeah, no, it's hard to choose honestly because you've got pockets of people that you root for in each, you know, organization and on each team, whether it's players or coaches or staff members that are contributing to this league. So it's really hard to pick one. Obviously you got Tyans, our head coach, her wife plays for Montreal. Our assistant coach, her wife just retired, was playing for Boston and now is with Seattle in a role. So
Yep.
obviously have a vested interest in just rooting for those two people. But then, you got to go with the hometown team. It's just like they're here.
Well, there's a lot of them that came over here,
Great.
so we could say.
Green is like one of my favorite colors.
Mm.
No, and Daniel Marmer, who is the GM, Boston, was in that Bruins um,
Oh,
year
Mentor
cool.
program.
championship program. So just a neat tie-in there. So you're just, you want the hometown team to do well in the
Yeah.
local community to like grasp on, which they have, but really like sounds super cheesy, but I'm just cheering for the sport to do well, for all the
Yes.
to do well, and the coaches and staff and whoever's involved to just keep this thing growing in such a positive way that you just have to be a fan of the whole thing. Like,
Yes.
so
We
yeah,
just hope the players have fun. That's all we hope.
Hockey's fun. Hockey is fun.
Hockey is fun. That's right.
hockey is fun,
It
and
really is.
yeah, but it's really cool to see. I'm interested to see how the expansion impacts everyone's lives, how travel for the teams from west coming east goes,
Yeah.
the teams from the east and their pathways that they've been used to and have now shifted. So it'll be cool, like how that will become part of a strategy, and um yeah, just excited to see what this season brings for the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Us
Plus
too.
it's an Olympic year, so always
I
excited.
mean, that's just just layered in. And it's
Yeah.
so interesting to me because it's like all of these, athletes, who could potentially be rivals in, their teams on PWHL now become teammates, and or they could be teammates in PWHL and become rivals, in
Yeah.
the Olympics. And I think that's going to be a really cool thing to watch. So
Lots of
it's going to
layers
be
there. Yeah.
really fun year.
Storylines. I love the Olympics. I just remember watching that 98 team. That was when it was like VHS. So I went to school because it was in Italy, which is,
Right.
or excuse me, Nagano. I apologize.
Yeah.
Um, and anyway, just recording it, having my parents record it and come home, and then just being like, okay, I'm gonna watch this game, and you didn't have the internet at that time, or you
Yeah.
did, but it wasn't like a prevalent thing that you were constantly checking on your smartphone, like
That's
those didn't exist. So just to find you out, not in real time, but like on your own timeline, like the US won and how they did it, it was just that was like a life-changing moment for the sport in my eyes. Like, how cool is that? So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you just dated yourself with the whole VHS thing. I just
it's
want to say,
totally
Meredith.
fine. I'll own it. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, we actually are in talks right now. There is a possibility we might get out to the East Coast this season to see, and Boston is one of the games that we're talking about maybe trying to see when Seattle plays Boston. So if
Oh
we make it
no.
out that way, we will definitely let you know.
Yeah, that'd be great. It's a good setup. Songus is a good arena. The
Yeah,
crowd's great. I'd be curious, what your experience will be like out there. And then
yeah.
if you do manage to travel and maybe check out a few different venues, just what the vibe checks like and what you guys think. So
Well, we are going to travel up to Vancouver for the first game because Seattle plays in Vancouver for the first game of the season. So there we are going to travel up there. And there's a Seattle section. Sorry, Vancouver. But we're gonna. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to be up there, in Pacific Coliseum because they're primary tenant there. So it's gonna be a whole different vibe than like at Climate Pledge where we're, not that we would love to be primary tenant, but currently we're not primary tenant. And so like seeing like center ice, like logo on center ice, like all those things, like that's what really gets me pumped up is like this is not a flash in the pan, right? This is a real deal, like legitimate league. So yeah, we're
yeah,
very, very excited.
Very
the
excited.
logo and the ice, it's real, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
That's good.
Okay, well, my wife always gets the last word. What's the last word, Ben?
I don't know. It was a long question. I feel like I could just talk and talk, Meredith, and that's a sign of
Yeah.
a really good guest. So
Yeah,
thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you for that. But just the inclusiveness of you talking so nonchalantly about this player and her wife and this coach and her wife and just that inclusion of that people can see themselves play in this sport. It just it obviously warms my heart to know that everyone is welcome and everyone is celebrated. And I just really feel so grateful for that.
Yeah.
Same, and I think the league, the PWHL, has just done a wonderful job in their storytelling,
Yes.
the players in front of an audience because you always want to root for something, right? Like, and I find like the human element of sport is just so fascinating because that's what ties us all together is that thread of being, a human being. So if you can see parts of yourself represented, and playing on this stage, it's just so cool. And yeah, I feel that same way, Patty, like super grateful. And
Yeah,
it's just what a time for female, like really, and female athletics. And
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. What a time to be female, period. Like that's
like,
a
let's go.
statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that on a shirt.
That's right. What a
Yes.
time. Yes. New this is a shirt idea. What a time to be female. I love it.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go. But yeah,
Oh.
Thank
oh,
you
this has
so
been
much,
awesome.
Meredith. This has been
Yeah, it's
awesome.
been really great meeting you and just, the best of luck. Go Crimson. I don't
Yeah.
have
Big game
any
tonight.
yeah, I don't have
Yeah.
any feeling about any college. So why not Harvard? Sure, let's go for that.
Love that. I love the support and
Yeah.
love what you are doing out there. Um, Keep getting the reps in for for the exposure for that area.
Yeah,
Right.
we just want it to grow. Like
Yeah.
whatever, we just
Yeah,
want it to grow and sustain and continue until, we've been season ticket holders here for 2 decades. So
Yeah, that's what we want. And we want to outpace the NHL at some point too. Like I'd love to see that happen. So I know we got a few years before that's going to happen, but that's my competitive spirit right there.
I love it. Yeah, well, keep up the great work and thank you for
Aw,
having.
thank you,
My
Meredith. Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
Yeah,
Okay.
Good luck tonight.
We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
thank
Bye-bye.
you.
And that's the show. Tune in next time for another episode of Gloves Off Seattle.